These are 7 of the most popular budget microphones under $50, and today we're gonna be trying to find out which is the best one for you. All of these microphones are between $25 and $50 because I wanna make a separate video for below 25. By the way, this microphone here has been hugely popular in the last year. All the mics will also be linked in the description, so you can check them out whenever you want. The mic we're gonna start with is the FIFINE K669B, and this is a really interesting one. The reason that this microphone is interesting is that the one I just mentioned before is actually kind of an upgrade of this one. So both of these mics are actually from the same company. They are both from FIFINE, and this mic here, which came before this one, the FIFINE K669B, has been a hugely popular microphone for such a long time. You will hear this in a bit, but the quality of this microphone is crazy for the price. 2,000 people bought it in the past month. Now what comes in the box is very simple: the microphone, a mic stand, which is pretty sturdy. It doesn't look the prettiest, of course. It's a budget microphone, but it's very sturdy. It works, and it also gets the microphone pretty high. And besides what I already discussed, we also have a volume knob here. Okay, and the microphone should be connected right now, so I will put it on my desk. You can see the distance from my mouth. This is what the microphone sounds like, and I will get it closer to my mouth so you can get a feeling of that. But as I mentioned, we will test all of that for all microphones. The volume slider is very sensitive. It's pretty much at the minimum now, and if I get it to like 1/3, you will hear that it's pretty much peaking, and especially if I turn it on even more. But you can definitely adjust this microphone to whatever works for you. Now next we have the FIFINE Ampligame, and I'm not gonna go too in depth on this microphone because I've been mentioning it quite a bit. Now as you can see on the bottom of the microphone, it also has elastics that act like a shock mount, and a shock mount like this helps to make sure that vibrations from the desk are not traveling through the mic stand and then to the microphone. This is especially handy for a microphone standing on your desk, because whenever you're touching your desk for anything, usually you would definitely hear it. Okay, so the microphone has been plugged in now. I'm going to turn up the volume to the maximum. Okay, so this is the max sensitivity. You can already see the RGB, by the way. It does look great. It's not changeable, so you cannot connect it to software and then manage it yourself. Overall, for the price itself, this mic sounds amazing, just like the previous one. However, do note that the build quality of this microphone is less than the previous FIFINE K669B. This one is purely plastic, extremely light. Oh, I almost forgot, you can also... I'm switching to the shotgun now, but you can mute it by tapping on top, and then like this, you can just get it back. Now, the next microphone is a Razer Seiren Mini, and this is the first microphone by a mainstream brand. You might think Razer doesn't sound like a great budget brand, but for their streamer line and their cheap microphones, they really do have great value. Now, the one that we have is this one here. Also amazing reviews and a lot of them. We're gonna test it, but this being $38 means that under 50 or for around 50, you could buy this microphone together with a microphone arm. I'm gonna take it with me for a second already, but this is a typical cheap microphone arm. And as you've heard in previous tests, when you test a mic when it's on your desk pretty far away from your mouth and then you bring it closer, it gets much more warm and full and studio-like. And so buying a microphone arm that's around, I think, $14 makes a huge difference. I'm gonna test all of these microphones together with an arm later. And this microphone is hypercardioid, which means it's super focused on the front, and everything that's coming from the back or from the side on the back is getting cancelled out. It is a pretty polished product. Like, look at this. If I plug in the USB here, it completes the design and it looks super clean. Now, a big downside of this mic is how tiny it is. I mean, it's a nice mic, and it being tiny is pretty cool overall. However, this means that it's very far away from your mouth, and I'm gonna show you the cardioid pattern. So on the front, it's very sensitive, but then when we move it to the back and we talk into the microphone like this, I'm much more quiet and muffled, and so this mic is very good at cancelling out background noise. The next microphone is the blue Snowball Ice, and this is a true classic. I don't even have the packaging of this microphone because it was the first mic that I ever bought for the channel. It comes with a very sturdy USB cable. I'm gonna check out the exact price. So right now it costs $47, and if you check out the white one, ooh, alright, so this is much cheaper. I'm gonna use that price as a comparison in this video. We're comparing budget microphones, so the color shouldn't matter that much. Hello, hello, test, test. Okay, the microphone is working. I think it sounds more thin than the previous ones. It does sound very studio-like though, like it sounds processed. At least that's what it sounds like in my headset now. Now I'm gonna go to the Windows sound settings. Let's move it up to like 90. So the mic is definitely more sensitive now. If I hold it closer, it will be too loud, I think. Also, you shouldn't talk directly into the microphone. You should always talk next to it, because then, look, you still kind of heard the P sounds, but If you do it into the mic, it's much worse. And let's test the microphone from the back. So this is what it sounds like in the front. I'm gonna move it. This is what it sounds like from the back. So really interesting tests coming up. Next, we have the HyperX SoloCast. And this is a mic I've tested one time before on the channel. I tested this mic in my console streaming setup where I explained how to stream with a console. This was the mic I used there. And I was very impressed at that time. Now the mic makes me think of the Razer Seiren Mini. These are both very small microphones. They're around the same price. Let me look it up. HyperX SoloCast. So this one is $40. I see that the Seiren Mini was $38, so pretty much the same price. The only difference in function between these two mics is that the HyperX has a mute button on the top. I feel like these two mics are gonna perform very similarly. This is important to note. Look at what happens if I touch my desk. That's very loud. It doesn't really have a shock mount, but this is something to keep into account. However, I think the same was true with the Seiren Mini. A lot of these mics have that, especially cheaper mics. I don't think that this microphone right here, the FIFINE Ampligame, had this because it did have the shock mount. Let's test the mute button. Okay, so it actually works. And I'm gonna test the mic far away from me on the desk. I did have the P sound as it next to the mic. Okay, so that's better, but this sounds very warm and very high quality. I really like this microphone. Now, the next microphone, this is a very special case, not only because it's a microphone kit, which it is. It comes with a microphone arm, it comes with a pop filter, and then of course the mic itself, which looks like an XLR mic, but which is actually a USB microphone. But there's another reason why it's a pretty special microphone, because it was part of my previous mic comparison, which is more than a year old. People give me negative comments when I say that it sounds cheap, because people really like microphones sounding full and processed. However, you can clearly hear that they tried to make it sound expensive by really boosting the fullness of this microphone. But I want to show you something first. So, do you recognize these microphones? You probably do. These are the golden BM800 microphones. They are very popular, but the reason that Amazon is full of it is that this is one of the products that you can buy probably on Alibaba or like in Chinese warehouses. They make a bunch of these and then companies put their own spin on it and then publish it online. You can buy these on wish.com, on AliExpress. So they just connect XLR here and then they put the aux into the PC and it doesn't sound that good. I've tested these microphones. It sounds very bad actually. So what I think they've done with this microphone is probably taken the internals of these types of microphones. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. And then there's a mini audio interface in the microphone and you can even see it on the box. Look, on the box they say professional sound chipset. Now I'm not sure how professional it will be, but this chipset is not part of these cheap BM800 microphones, but it is part of this microphone, and that's why they can change how it sounds and also why they can make it USB. You can also hear that it sounds pretty flat. There's no depth in the voice, there's no highs and lows, it's just all very processed. So it comes with a clamp for on your desk. You just tighten the screw on the bottom and then you shove in the arm. Overall, a pretty nice kit for the price. It's about $43, $44, which is a really good price for a microphone arm with the mic itself. I mean, this is a nice kit. And let's listen to it. I wanted to give it another chance. I hear why people like this microphone. It does sound very deep and full and processed. Also, the pop filter kind of does its work. Oops, it's speaking. Let's see if we can adjust the gain here. So let's make this 70, for example. Okay, hello, hello, closer, still peaks. Let's try 30. Hello, hello. Ah, still peaks. Okay, so there's not much range in that sense. So you can't be too close and then talk too loud because it's gonna keep peaking. And again, I understand why people like the sound of this. It sounds full, it sounds processed, it sounds deep. In this price range, that might be just what people are looking for. Alright, now next is the last microphone that we're testing out today. And this one makes the whole thing even more interesting because this probably reminds you of the previous microphone. And I don't really remember if I've tested this before. And I mean, come on, this microphone just looks like the previous one. I mean, there's actually not really a doubt. These are the same base microphones that have been released by different companies. You can also see it on the back, they are exactly the same. However, the top is very different and what's inside might also be different. So that's why I want to test both of them. So the base of the microphone and probably the magnet that picks up the vibrations and then turns it into a signal, that's probably the same. But maybe the chip that they use on the inside that we also saw on the other product box is different. However, to be fair, I think they might be exactly the same. And I'm saying this because look on the back, we have the frequency response here, and this graph is exactly the same as this graph right here. And then also this table with specifications is exactly the same as this table right here. So they probably use exactly the same internals. Also the chipset, I might have been too gullible with thinking that they would use a base microphone and then design their own chipset in order to process the sound and make it digital. Oh, by the way, I forgot to check the price, and I think this might be a bit of a downside here. Currently it seems like it's 54, actually 55. Now I'm not going to exclude it from this test for $5, especially since I'm interested to see if it's just a more expensive version of this one here. So I definitely want to test it, but just know that this one is 55, which is very similar to the price of these other mics together with a mic arm. So if you buy a mic arm, all of them will be around $50. So we are back at the first microphone now. I'm gonna cycle through all of the mics one by one so you can compare them. I'm gonna do it 4 times for 4 tests. Alright, so this is the second mic. I will put all information on the screen. Maybe now you will hear that this one sounds very similar to the previous one. So this is the third microphone. I will quickly go over the 4 tests we're gonna do. So the first one is this here, all the mics on the desk out of the box. The second one will be all of the microphones close to my mouth with a mic arm. And then the third and the fourth tests are also going to be really important because I'm going to do the same tests without a mic arm and with one, but with background sound while clicking my keyboard, clicking my mouse, and that way you will be able to hear which microphone cancels out the background noise the best. Fourth microphone, the blue Snowball, my first mic ever. Now please be careful when looking for these mics on Amazon because a lot of the times there are listings that are more expensive. I will make sure that all my links in the description go to the official product pages on Amazon. Now something really important to note, the next 2 microphones, the last 2 ones, are both gonna be microphone kits, and they will sound better than these microphones, or at least they will sound warmer and more full, but it's because they're closer to my mouth with a microphone arm. Alright, so next is the first microphone kit, the hugely popular, at least on my channel, but I think in general, SUDOTACK ST800. It looks pretty premium, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do 1 test for you, the pop filter, so without, then with this one, and then with this. So I will blow pop sounds into the microphone itself. Okay, I listened to it myself and this definitely does the job. You cannot move the mic too close to your mouth because it's impossible to lower the sensitivity, and as you hear now, there is some peaking and some distortion and you can't really get rid of it. It's on the lowest sensitivity, so you need to move it a bit further. Alright, now I'm talking quiet because this microphone, I think I forgot to test it. I might have actually forgotten it was yesterday, but hey, we're testing it now and this mic is extremely sensitive. I have to keep it further away from me and it might not sound a big deal from there, but look from the side, this mic is really far away from me and it still sounds very warm and very full. Now if you look on the box, they also show the mic from the top, but even now it will peak when I talk too loud, like hey, see, it has distorted. And I know there will be comments of people saying hey, you need to adjust the microphone sensitivity, but it doesn't work. Look at this, I'm gonna do it really low. Look, if I set this to 10%, I mean it's really quiet right now, but like hey, even if I talk close then it distorts, so it doesn't really help. The mic needs to be far away. If you shout hey, that's how it will sound, and if you talk really quiet, then this is how this mic will sound. Alright, back to the first microphone, the FIFINE K669B. I removed the stand. I'm gonna go through them a bit quicker right now. Now something useful to know is that all of these microphones will have a different polar pattern, and it basically shows the area around the microphone, and then the red is where the microphone will be sensitive from. The Razer Mini, for example, is a hypercardioid mic, which means that it's hypersensitive from the front, and then pretty much all the way around the microphone most noise gets cancelled. Alright, this is the blue Snowball on a microphone arm, and as we discussed before, this is a very old microphone. It released such a long time ago, but it's still one of the best selling microphones out there. Alright, this is the HyperX SoloCast, and I've listened to it before with my headset. This sounds really good for the price. Alright, and we are back at the microphone kits. We've also talked about most info you need to know about the polar patterns and the closeness to your mouth, so I'm gonna go quickly through all the remaining tests. Now I'm not even... Listen to this distortion. This mic from close is very bad, and from far, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of echo compared to the other ones on a microphone arm. It's also more expensive than the previous one. If you want the mic kit, I wouldn't really go for this one. I'm gonna exclude it from the next test. Tell me in the comments if I did something wrong. I don't think so. I don't really like this one. A last test from really far away. I'm gonna show you peaking. Hey! Like even that peaks. I don't really know about this one. I sound like the other one. Okay, so as promised, the test will be very quick right now. What I will do is I will talk into the mics, first on the desk then on an arm. And while doing that, I will be typing on my keyboard plus clicking my mouse now and then, and I will be able to hear how loud you hear the keyboard and the mouse with all of the mics. I'll start right now. This is a test of the FIFINE K669B with some keyboard clicking on the desk. Alright, next microphone. This is the FIFINE Ampligame with exactly the same test. I still feel like they sound similar. Right now I feel like the clicking is much louder with this microphone compared to the previous one. Alright, same test with the Razer Seiren Mini. Now I feel like this mic has a huge disadvantage because look at this from the side. It is super small and it's really close to my keyboard and far from my mouth compared to the other microphones. Okay, next we have the HyperX SoloCast, and this microphone is also pretty small, but it's a bit taller than the Razer Seiren Mini, so it might perform a bit better. Also depends on the polar pattern, but this is how it sounds. Alright, next is the blue Snowball. I feel like it's performing pretty well in terms of removing the clicks, but it doesn't sound that good in my headphones in terms of sound quality. Alright, this is the SUDOTACK ST800, and you will see that it's a bit further away from my mouth than the other microphones that I tested on a mic arm. And the reason is that if I put it too close to my mouth, then it will start peaking. So this here is about the safe distance, and this is what it sounds like when I type on my keyboard. I will now go through all of the other mics on a microphone arm. Okay, so this is the FIFINE K669B on a microphone arm while I'm typing on my keyboard, clicking my mouse. Next, the FIFINE Ampligame. Now, really important, this mic is being sold in a microphone kit together with an arm. It's a very popular microphone kit. The mic sounds great with an arm. It has a pop filter, it has RGB. I'm really a fan of this microphone, and I think a lot of people are gonna go to this microphone here. Alright, next, the Razer Seiren Mini, and listening to this, I would have to listen to the other microphones all together, also the previous one, because I was really positive about it, but this one sounds really good as well. It sounds very warm. I barely hear the keyboard and the mouse clicks. It's very good at cancelling it out. Alright, next we do have the blue Snowball. This mic actually looks like a snowball. It also looks pretty high quality for the price. I remember that's what I liked when I bought a microphone in the first place. Alright, we have two microphones to go. This also definitely sounds good. This is a really good microphone for the price. So far while talking, I really like this microphone as well. Alright, and this is the last microphone. This is the SUDOTACK ST800. I'm really curious how this will compare to all of the other ones. As I said before, the legit listings to the official product pages of all of these microphones will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I really like making these videos, and I hope that I will see you in one of the future ones. Have a nice day.